Good afternoon again. So, majority of you nagtatanong or possible na nahihirapan sa summative 3 natin ngayon kasi nilatag ko lang talaga yung buong worksheet and the rest of the financial statements such as the statement of comprehensive income, balance sheet, ultimo pati yung trial balance and adjusting entries, adjusted trial balance lahat. Pero supposed to be dapat yung working paper or yung worksheet lang dapat ang titingnan ninyo. And by that, you can easily come up with the preparation of your cash flow statement. But it seems na medyo nahirapan kayo. Okay? Why? There is a possibility na nakalimutan nyo yung mga reminders ko. Ano ba yung proper way of doing the statement of cash flow? Ano-ano ba yung mga transactions under investing, financing, or operating activities? So, paano mo ma-determine yun? Just by looking at the working paper. Kasi medyo nasanay kayo doon sa tabular. Okay. So, anyway, let me discuss you again the cash flow statement. Okay? The components and of course on how are you going to prepare for your statement of cash flow. By the way, pakisabi na lang kung may papasok ha kasi hindi ko nakikita yung mga magre-request na magpapa-in. Okay? So, sabi ko nga, a statement of cash flow class provides information on the sources and utilization of cash during the period. Presentation of statement of cash flow according to activities. So, there are 3 activities, okay? One is the operating activities. So, under the operating activities, the only concern here, class, is your or any transactions in relation to cash that can affect your income and expenses. So, if you're going to look at your, wait lang, kailangan yata naka full screen ako. Paki-screenshot na lang ng mga present ngayon, ha? Yan. So if you're going to look at the working paper or the worksheet class, what have you observed? So automatic ito na yung nasa trial balance. These are the adjustments. So A means ito yung unang naging transaction mo. Okay? Sa adjusting entry mo. Okay? Then afterwards, you have your adjusted trial balance. I think I already taught you how to come up with your adjusted trial balance, okay? So you just carry over. Kung may parehong debit side dito, pati sa adjustment, you just add, just like this one. Diba? So back to topic. Sabi ko kanina is yung operating activities, ang concern nun is the what? Income and expenses. So, take note, alin ba dito yung mga, wait lang. Saan ba dyan sa working paper ninyo na ang concern line ay income and expenses? So, where are we going to or saan tayo titingin, class? Okay? Of course, dito tayo titingin sa ating income statement. Tama? Kasi dito, ang concern mo lang is income and expenses. Tama po ba? Class. Ayan.
Yes, ma'am.
So, meaning to say, may concern ba siya? It depends. Okay? So, analyze. Ano-ano ba dapat ang nasa cash flows? Pag clinic ko to, makikita nyo na kagad ang sagot. Wait lang. Doon tayo sa quiz. Ayan. So sabi ko dito, you need to prepare. O, alam nyo na to kung anong meron dito dapat, ha? Of course, yung name of the company, kung anong type of statement, and of course, the date. So dito, under the cash flow statement, ano-ano ba yung mga transaction na nakakaapekto sa income at saka sa expenses mo? For example, back to PowerPoint. Cash received from the sale of goods and rendering of services. Ibig sabihin, may natanggap kang cash. Okay? So sa cash flow statement, ang ilalagay mo lang doon is cash received. Cash received from customers under operating activities. Now, titingnan mo ngayon, class, meron bang cash received from customers na naganap just by looking at your working paper? Tingnan, balikan natin ang working paper natin. Palagay nyo, meron ba? Ma'am, bakit wala akong makita? Are you sure na wala kang makita? Look, analyze. Ang nilagay lang dyan is the total.
Breaks.
Okay? Tanungin, ano ba yung business ni Cruz? So, service center. Meaning to say, nagre-render siya ng services. Okay? Anong klaseng services? Yan. So, dito meron siyang unearned revenue. Ibig sabihin, nagbayad si customer. Nakatanggap siya ng cash. Pero, what? Anyone? O, basta kailangan dito nyo titingnan, ha? Kasi it's like you're looking at the summary class, pero behind that is the T account. Okay? Na ang concern lang is cash, yung movement ng cash ninyo. Okay? Second, so meron na kayo. Kung meron sa tingin nyo is merong naganap na receive or naka-receive siya ng cash or nagalaw ang cash, it's either nag-earn siya ng income, then you should have a word cash received from customers. Okay? Then, you need to figure out how much is the amount ang na-receive niya. Okay? So, pwedeng hindi lang po yung income statement ang titingnan ninyo. Tingnan nyo din yung adjustments, tingnan nyo yung trial balance. And take note, class, ha? The total of your cash in your balance sheet is also the total of your what? Cash flow statement. Meaning dito and dito. Ma'am, anong ilalagay namin sa cash ng January 1? Remember yung transaction natin na merong August class? Magkakaroon ka lang ng cash balance if there is a what? Previous balance. Meaning to say, yung 2015 to, di ba? December, merong nilagay doon or in-indicate doon na merong cash balance ng noong December 2014. Eh since wala, so anong ilalagay nyo dito? If you're talking about the net, meaning to say, meron dyang mina-minus din. For example, here, in the first transaction. O, alam nyo na dyan, ha? May ibig sabihin may mina-minus dyan. Hindi ko lang nilagay kung negative yan or positive. Possible na positive dito ang sagot. Possible na negative. Automatic kung negative ito class, there should be an open and close. Pero hindi ko muna nilagay kasi I want you to determine kung alin ba. Ito ba ay positive? Ito ba ay negative? Ito ba ay positive? Or ito ba ay negative? Basta ang sure lang na kapag inad mo tong dalawa, ang sagot dito mo ilalagay. Okay? Since ito nag-iisa lang, dito mo lang siya ilalagay. Okay? Dito naman, same. Compute yung total nito. Yan. Okay? But, take note again, class, na dito, dali lang eh. Tatlo lang eh. Tatlong cash lang. Tatlo lang nandiyan sa financing nyo later on. Tingnan natin. Okay? Ulitin ko. So, number 1, para masagutan yung quiz, ask yourself, meron bang nangyaring or may naka-receive ba si Mr. Cruz or nagalaw bang income and expenses? Meron ba siyang na-receive na pera because he rendered services? If yes, how much? So of course, total na dapat ng lahat ng na-receive niyang cash because he rendered a services, or there's a possibility na he did not render services pero nagbayad na siya. Ang tanong, dito ba yan inilalagay o hindi? The second one, so ito yung mga ganito, class, ito yung nilalagay nyo sa, ito yan yung nilalagay nyo dun sa blank. Ito yung nilalagay nyo dyan. Okay, so, ibig sabihin, dalawa lang yan, ibig sabihin, dalawa lang ang nangyari din. Okay? Next, number 2, o letter B. Cash receipts from interest income. Take note, meron ba na na-receive galing sa interest? O, tingnan nyo nga, meron ba dyang interest income? Kung wala kayong nakita, ibig sabihin, wala na. Pero if ever na meron, ano ang ilalagay natin? Class. Ang ilalagay natin ay, kung ito, cash received from customers, ito naman, cash received from interest income. Okay? Next, letter C. Cash payments for purchases of inventory. O take note, class. Pag sinabing cash payments, inflow ba ito? Outflow. So kanina, these are inflow. Lahat ito positive. Meaning to say, if you're going to look at the worksheet, dapat ito ay nasa debit side. Okay? Next. dito, payment, ibig sabihin, ito yung mga outflow, cash outflow under operating activities. Ano-ano ba? Meron ba tayong cash payments for purchases of inventory? Meron ba siyang mga binili, idinagdag, o wala? Tingnan naman natin yung ating worksheet. Meron ba? Parang meron lang siya, mga expenses lang. Saan? Is it inventory? To add for your inventory? Meron ba siyang supplies expense? Insurance expense? So dito, take note, meron tayong dalawang form din pala ng presenting the cash flow statement. Yung, sino nakakaalala? Andito yon. Direct method and of course, indirect method. Okay? So sa palagay nyo, saan tayo? Direct method or indirect method? Okay?
Direct method.
Back ulit tayo. Since sa tingin ninyo is, dahil may supplies expense siya, ibig sabihin, nagdagdag siya ng inventory niya. At the same time, meron din siyang insurance expenses, rent expenses. Ang tawag naman doon is operating expense. Meaning to say, pinag-combine niya class. Itong letter C and D. So, paano natin ilalagay sa cash flow statement yan? So, ang ilalagay na lang natin is payments for, ano ba?
Expenses.
O, pwedeng payments for expenses or pwede tayong maging specific. For example, pili lang tayo. Kasi, di ba binigay ko sa inyo yung adjusting entries? Class? So, anong tawag dito? So, these are operating activities. Diba? It is necessary to do your, what do you call that? These expenses are necessary so that your business can still operate. So, ano ilalagay na lang natin is, what? Wait lang, nasa na yung PowerPoint ko. Payments for, so pili na lang tayo dahil lagi namang may salary. So salaries and other operating expenses. Tanong, meron ba? Nasagutan ko na yata ang quiz nyo. Bonus na to Okay lang, may bonus na. O sige. O meron ma'am. Kasi may nangyaring transaction o nagalaw po. Meron sa adjustments niya, etc. O sige, meron kang ganito. Ang tanong, how much? Sabi lang niya, salaries and operating. Sinabi ba nakasama ang supplies expense? Paano makukuha yun? Class.
Ma'am, excuse me po. Ma'am, pa-admit daw po si Kyla Arcena po.
Ay, sige, wait lang, be. So, bahala na kayo Hindi ko sinabing ganun ang gagawin. Pero may kinalaman yon. As long as nagalaw. Okay? Kaya make sure you have a T account. Or you can just add, if gusto nyo ibigay ko tong, hindi pala pwede ko ibigay ang Excel. Pwede naman ibigay ko tong Excel so that it's easier for you. Huwag nyo lang pindutin, hindi, ihiwalay ko na lang siya para hindi nyo makita yung sagot ko. Okay? Oh, next. So, after nun, of course, you will have your net. Sabi kasi niya, net cash used for operating expenses. So take note, if may word dyan na net class, ibig sabihin one of this amount is positive and one is negative. Dito, it can be positive and negative. So usually, negative 2, kung ito ay negative and mas higher kesa sa dito. O, clue ko na, clue. The answer here is negative already. Oh, negative na ang answer dyan. Dali lang, pa-admit daw si Kayla. Wala. Dami nang na-miss nung mga kaka-admit lang. Ulitin ko ha. Cash flows from operating activities, ang concern lang dyan is there should be an effect on your income and expenses. Okay? Itinuli natin. Pag sinabing cash receipt, ang ilalagay mo doon is cash received from customers. Tingnan mo ngayon ang worksheet. Meron ka bang mga na-receive na cash from your customers? Oh, you have your adjustments. You have your adjusting entry. You have the problem for adjustments.
Ma'am, yung total lang po yung kukunin, ma'am. After po ng adjusted.
Yes. Total lang. Total kung magkano lahat ang na-receive mo from your customers.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay? Next. Cash receipts from interest income. Meron ba? Meron ka bang nakitang interest income dyan? Siguro naman wala. So kung wala, disregard. Hindi siya kasama sa ilalagay mo. But take note, if ever na meron, paano ilalagay yan sa cash flows? Ang ilalagay mo dyan is cash received from interest income. Pwede kasing, saan galing yung interest na yon? Okay? Is it from interest coming from the money or from the bank? Interest dahil late payment si customer? So it depends. Okay? Next. So usually, itong cash receipt, these are the inflows. Okay? Ito yung mga pumasok na cash. So usually, kapag pumasok sa cash, saan siya nakalagay? Sa debit side dapat siya nakalagay. Next. Cash payments. Again, pag sinabing cash payments to purchase inventory, ibig sabihin, meron siyang mga binili na kailangan niya para sa business niya. Outflow, kasi nagbayad ka. Outflow. Okay? Then, cash payments for expenses. So, what are these expenses? These are operating expenses necessary to run your business. So, check again the working paper. What are the things to be considered as operating expenses? So, ayan ang mga expenses niya. Pinag-isa. Kung ganyan, halimbawa, which is your bonus, o sinasabi ko na, yun na ang sagot. Ay! Naku po. Ay! Wait lang, ano nangyari? Kinabahan ako dun, biglang nag-flash. Stop presenting. Hirap talaga kapag nakabuong ano ka eh, nakabuong yan. Wait. Sabi ko na nga ba, dapat ihiwalay ko to eh. Back tayo. Hindi ka nang ma-show ang tamang sagot. Ayan, okay na ba? Naka-flash na? So, analyze. Anong ilalagay pag ganun, pag pinig-isa? So, pwedeng payments for salaries, o pwedeng kung hindi man salaries, pwedeng iba. Pili ka lang. Pero kaya ko piniling salaries kasi ito yung constant na meron talaga. Lalo na kung may tauhan ka. So, payment for salaries and other operating expenses. So, analyze your worksheet. Ano ba yung mga expenses mo? Okay? How are you going to solve for the amount para dito? So, you may add. Ano ba yung mga concern na kasama doon? Ito dito yan class ha, double bar line yan. Dito yan kasi. Ibig sabihin this is the final or the total. Okay? So, your total should be the same as your total cash in your balance sheet. So, take note, paano maging pag mo to, ang total niya, by the way, this is also a negative. Okay na din natin para may clue kayo. Ito na rin, lagay na din natin. Lagyan na natin kayong pahirapan. And also here. So, ano ibig sabihin yan? All of this indicates that negative siya. Meaning to say, kung ay asset, dapat siya ay nasa credit side. Kung ito ay expenses, dapat siya ay nasa credit side also. Kung ito ay withdrawal, dapat nasa credit side siya. Pero ano nga uli ang concern dito? Nakaka-affect sa income and expenses. Alam niyo na dapat yung kung saan ang normal balance ng mga accounting title nyo or ng major of accounts. Naituro ko na yon. Okay, the second activities. Ito naman, dito naman tayo. Ito po yung second activities. Cash flows from investing activities. So, dyan class is iisa lang ang nakalagay. Tama? At negative pa. Okay? Ano-ano ba ang meron sa investing? So usually investing activities primarily result from the acquisition and disposal of long-term assets and other investments like property, plant, and equipment. So take note, meron ka bang mga binili? Okay? Tingnan mo ngayon ang iyong worksheet. Tingnan mo ngayon yung mga accounting title mo. Okay? May ininvest ka ba? Can be equipment. Okay? Kung hindi ka pa masyadong kontento dyan, tingnan mo yung mga sinend ko sa inyong balance sheet, adjusted trial balance, income statement, trial balance. Check mo ngayon, ano-ano bang mga ininvest ko? Okay? So, ang investment, is malaking effect sa cash. Di ba usually ang what do you call this? Ang investment, laging katandem niyang cash. Diba? Kung naalala niyo siya. Okay? So, analyze, saan ko ba kukunin yung investment? Halimbawa, ma'am, ang hirap, hindi ko makita, hindi ko mahanap. Okay lang, sige, leave it blank, hindi mo pa to alam. Meron ka pa nito. Dali na yan isolve. Okay? So, anong accounting title ang ilalagay pang ganon? Ayo, accounting title. Anong ilalagay na word? So, kanina, anong sabi natin dito? Payments for salaries and other operating expenses. So, dito naman, dahil nagbayad ka, cash paid or it can be acquisition, dahil ito yung word. Pero if you use word na purchases at bumili ka, so purchase of plant assets. Lagay mo, acquisition paid for purchase of plant assets. Okay? Next. Dito na tayo sa cash flows from financing. So, ano-ano ba mga concern sa cash flow from financing activities? Ito naman, cash receipts. So, ibig sabihin, cash received. Okay? Parang ganito lang din. Cash received from kung saan galing. Okay? So, under the financing activities, we have 4. Pero in our quizzes, in your quiz, we only have 3. Ibig sabihin, 3 lang ang concern ninyo. 2 doon is positive. Ibig sabihin, nakatanggap ka or nag-increase. Dito naman, nabawasan. Positive in the sense na, under capital to So, kung positive siya, investing. Ano-ano bang mga nasa investing, di ba? Kapag nag-invest ka sa owner, ibig sabihin nagdagdag yung cash mo. Kapag humiram ka sa bank, ibig sabihin nagdagdagan ng cash mo. Anong possible na may minus kapag nag-withdraw ka? So, balikan natin. So, we have 4 possible transactions in your financing activities. Number 1, cash received from investments of owner to the business. So, paano ilalagay yan sa cash flow? Cash received. Oh, huwag na palang cash received. Cash. Meron namang idirekto na tayo. Cash investment by the owner. Saan natin makukuha to? Saan natin titingnan? In short, this is your capital. Diba sa transaction, pag meron kang cash investment, for example, Mrs. Sibayan invested 200,000 cash to open her bakery. Debit, cash, credit, anong meron? Sibayan capital. Yun. Okay? That is your investment. Hindi yun yung beginning capital mo. Yung beginning capital mo, kung kunwari, meron akong natirang cash last month or last year. Okay? So, kitang-kita naman siguro. Saan makikita yun, class? So, kung meron pang, di ba sinend ko rin yung changes in equity doon, pwede nyo rin makita yun. Nandun yung, dito, makikita mo yan sa under balance sheet. Okay? Yan po ba? Of course, meron ka bang Additional investment? Meron ba? Meron ka bang additional investment? So, for example, meron ba siyang hiniram sa bangko? Tingnan. Pag meron kang hiniram, loan. So, it can be loan payable. Pero kapag may iniwan na notes, it can be notes payable. Okay? So, analyze. Meron ba? So, paano naman natin ilalagay yun? Cash receipts on loans. Ang lalagay mo is cash borrowed from loans. Pwede nyo nang ilagay mo. So, pag nangutang ka ba, ano yun? Additional ba yun or bawas sa cash mo? Kaya tingnan mo rin dito. Saan ko ba ilalagay yan? Is it here or here? Meron ba? O, tingnan mo again sa worksheet mo. Okay? Next. Nakaligtayan ko yung letter B. O, cash payments on drawings by owner. So, take note ha, lahat ng may word ng payments, katulad niyan, is outflow yan. Lumabas ang pera sa'yo. Lahat ng cash receipts, positive yan. May pumasok sa yung pera. Okay? So, dito sa letter B, ang ilalagay mo dyan is cash withdrawal by the owner. Dito, lagyan natin para hindi makalimutan. Cash investment by the owner. Yan. So, dito naman, ang ilalagay mo sa cash flow statement mo is cash borrowed from the bank. Last but not the least, okay. Kailangan ko yata nga, ayan na tuloy. Hindi na mag-cash siya. So, dito ay cash receipt. Cash. May lalagay class. Receive. From. What? It can be from the bank or na lang. So, it depends ha. Kung depende kasi sa problem kung naka-specify doon kung saan niya ba kinuha. It can be kasi sa, hindi sa bank siya nag-loan, possible na sa isang lending institution. So, siguro mas safe na lang na cash receive on loans. Basta at least alam mo kung saan nangyari or saan nang galing class yung ano. Okay? O, dito. Anong ilalagay natin dito? Cash paid for loans. Kung loans yan. Okay? Kaya ang ilalagay. Now, analyze. Tatlo lang yan. Ano-ano ba ang meron sa problem mo or doon sa worksheet mo? Okay? May capital ba? So, titingnan mo yung capital. May withdrawal ba? So, titingnan mo ngayon ang withdrawal. Meron ka bang ni-loan? So, usually, ang loan, meron talaga yung automatic na promissory note or what do you call this? A promise to pay. Okay? So, kaya nga may mortgage. Okay? Usually, may mga ganun ang loan. So, meron. So, ibig sabihin, yung tatlo ang ilalagay mo. Ngayon, paano mo ngayon ilalagay? Ano dapat ang unang mauna? Remember, may ruling tayo dyan. Okay? Paano uli ang paglalagay? It depends kung ano yung unang nangyari. Okay? So, ito yung kanina. We have different types of method. It can be direct method and indirect method. Meron ka ng cash provided by financing activities. Ibig sabihin, ito na yung result pag pinagsama-sama mo na yung 14, 12, 14, and 16. This is the result. Pag sinabing net in cash naman class, dito, ito naman ay kapag pinagsama-sama mo na si 8, 10, and 17. Net, parehong negative, ipag-a-add mo muna. Then, plus or minus. So, dahil hindi ko na nilagyan dito ng parenthesis, ibig sabihin, this is higher compared dito. O, di ba kanina ang problema mo, hindi mo alam to, paano i-determine. Remember, alam mo na kung anong mga amount niyan. Alam mo na rin ang net in cash. Ibig sabihin, the result of this one is the same dun sa total cash mo dun sa balance sheet. Okay? Cash balance on January, meron ba? Meron ka bang previous balance? So kung wala, anong ilalagay dyan? Kung meron, yun ang ilalagay dyan. Then, the cash balance ng January 31, you will add the net in cash and the cash balance of your January 1. Then you have your final balance. Take note uli ha, remind ko lang din po uli, your cash balance in your cash flow, final balance should be total also to your balance sheet. Ayan yung balance sheet ninyo sa inyong working paper. How much ba is your total cash? Oh, siguro naman by that time, wala na, naka-screenshot na yung iba. Siguro naman by that time class, nakuha nyo na. Don't worry, may pang-validate ako sa susunod niyan. Kung talagang nakuha nyo na. Okay, anyway, don't forget to save pala yung mga sinend ko sa inyo because I'll be using it for you to do the whole accounting cycle naman. Okay? So anyway, let me also emphasize, di ba may sinend ako sa inyo na basahin nyo? Yung sinend ko ng Thursday, Actually, kung binasa na yun, mas madali nyo na sanang ano. Itang hinahanap ko yung sinend ko sa inyo. Kung binasa nyo, mas madali nyo lang sanang masasagutan. Okay? Anyway, so sabi nga class, a statement of cash flow show the proper presentation of these three activities. Anong yung three activities na yon? Namely, operating, investing, and of course, financing. Wala na talaga pwedeng paglagyan. Okay? And each category of cash flow activities include both cash receipts, positive amounts, ibig sabihin pumapasok na cash sa business mo, and negative amounts which is indicated by parentheses. And generally, cash inflows or receipts increase the amount of cash balance. Lahat ng inflows, nag-i-increase yung cash mo. Lahat ng outflows, nababawasan yung tawag doon, nababawasan ang cash mo. So under the operating activities, aside from the things that I have discussed here, buko dito, these are some of the cash flow from operating activities. Of course, cash sales to customers. So if you receive a cash from your customers, cash collections. Ito nga tayo. Cash sales, cash collections from credit customers, receipts of cash dividend from stock or investment, lalo na kung ang business ninyo is corporation, okay? Cooperative. Receipts of interest payments, ayan. Refunds from suppliers. Sinend ko to sa inyo class pinicturean ko to by images. Refunds from suppliers and of course, cash collected from a lawsuit. Okay? Ito naman yung mga possible outflows or cash outflows. Payments to employees for salaries and wages. Payments to suppliers of goods and services, lalo na kung if you're going to, bakit nawawala? Ayan, lalo na kung, ito yun, lahat ng payments, ayan, payments to suppliers kasi nag-purchase ka nga ng inventory. Interest payments, net of amounts capitalized, lalo na kung meron kang inutang, so nag-earn na siya ng interest. For example, nag-purchase ka ng isang supply pero on credit, parang ganon. Okay? Next is contributions to charities and of course, cash refunds to customers. So kung meron kang cash receipts from suppliers, kasi for example, you return your some inventories, ayan. Okay? Next is palit naman yun is yung cash refunds to customers. Kung just in case naman si customer naman ang nag-return sa'yo. Okay? Parang ikaw, in this case, parang ikaw yung supplier. Okay? So under the cash flow from investing, we also have what we call, ito yung mga cash inflows. Proceeds from selling of productive assets. For example, pag nagbenta ka, dito kasi nagbenta ka ng PPE. An example dito. So it can be whatever it is na binenta mo. Okay? Na mga asset mo. That is investing activities. Okay? Inflows yan. So these are the proceeds from selling of productive assets. It can be your land or building. Another inflows is proceeds from the sale or discounting of loans made by the enterprise. So usually kasi kapag nagbabayad ka ng loan mo in advance, binabawasan nila minsan yung interest. So for example, I just discovered, lalo na kung PLDT ang inyong internet provider, so they give less 10 pesos kapag nagbayad ka via GCash, via electronic. Ayan. Tapos in advance, yan nababawasan. Kung ang ano mo is 1,599, babayaran ko lang is hindi pala sa PLDT, sa ano pala, sa Shama pala class, sorry. So, yun ang na-found out ko. Next is proceeds from selling the investments in equity securities of other companies. So usually kung partners, kung corporation ng ano nyo dito, no? Kasi mga stocks na ang pinagbabasihan. And of course, proceeds from selling investments in the debt securities of other entities except cash equivalent. So these are some of the cash inflows under investing activities. So hindi pa kayo makarelate sa mga selling investments, mga ganyan, stocks. Kasi nga, majority of my examples is service business. So later on, kapag na-complete na po natin yung accounting cycle, with service business as example, at na-master mo na yun, then after nun, I will give you a merchandising business. On your higher accounting class, they will give you mga partnership and corporation and cooperative examples. Okay? So unfortunately, ang topic lang po natin sa senior high, since this is just your lower accounting, is more on service or sole proprietorship lang po tayo. Okay? Sa sole proprietorship pa, merchandising and service business. Okay? Pwede rin naman siguro sa manufacturing, basta sole proprietorship. Okay? Depende. Okay? Basta don't worry, I will give you a lot of examples para ma-practice natin. Okay? So yon, under the cash outflows naman from investing class, you have the payments to purchase property, plant, and equipment or other productive assets. So kanina ginamit natin yung di ba, yung payment to plant productive assets. Okay? O plant assets. Another is payment in the form of loans made to other parties, or payment to acquire entity securities of other companies, payment to acquire debt securities of other entities except cash equivalents, and last but not the least is payments in the form of loans made to other parties. Okay? So, under investing activities. So, marami. Okay? So, actually, kulang naman talaga yung isang para mas ma-discuss ito. But, at least you have an idea kung anong pwedeng ilagay sa cash flow. So, under cash flows from financing activities naman, class. So, di ba meron tayong 4 dito? Ayan. Ayan. So, these are some of the cash inflows. Ibig sabihin, mga pumapasok na cash under financing activities. Number 1, proceeds from the issuance of equity securities. So, for example, yung ordinary and preference shares, kung ano siya, kung corporation siya, proceeds from the issuance of bonds and notes payable. Ayan, so I hope na nauunawaan nyo ako. But these are some. Okay? Pero ang pinaka-simpler niyan, ayan, mga yan. Okay? Next is payments, proceeds from other short or long-term borrowing transaction. Okay? Hindi siya payments, proceeds. Ibig sabihin, kita or receipts. Saan galing daw? Sa loans. Okay? Saan galing daw? Sa investment. Ano naman yung mga outflows o lumalabas yung pera natin? So, pag may narinig kayong payments, ang payments, payments of dividends and other distribution to owners. So, usually kasi, sa cooperative, Tsaka sa corporation, kapag kumita ang kampanya, usually may matatanggap silang dividends, ang tawag na dyan. Okay? Next, payments to purchase treasury stocks, repayment of cash loans, and payments of the principal amount involved in long-term credit arrangements. So, cash payments or repayments of loans, ito lang yun. Okay? May katanungan pa po ba sa cash flow? So, kung wala na, let's proceed to discuss your for your summative test 4. Okay? So, sa summative test 4 ninyo class, ito yon. Actually, ito na-discuss ko na to last time. Pero hindi ko kayo mabibigyan muna ng, what do you call this? Yung hands-on na tawag doon, na pag-compute kung paano mag-compute ng ratio. Kasi kung mapapansin nyo class, net sales, cost of sales, these are a manufacturing business. Eh hindi ko pa kayo nabibigyan, and I think hindi pa rin kayo yata nabibigyan ni Ma'am Rushin nung accounting 1 ninyo ng problem na merchandising business ang concern. Meaning to say, you don't know how to journalize yet a merchandising business. Tama po ba? Ako or hindi? Hello? Andyan pa ba kayo?
Yes, ma'am.
So, wala pa. So, ang naibigay pa lang sa inyo class is service business, tas hindi nyo pa natapos ang accounting title. Tama ba? Hanggang adjusting lang kayo. Wala pa talaga yung from journal entry, then nag-prepare tayo ng trial balance. After ng trial balance, merong adjustments. Then after ng adjustment, you prepare an adjusted trial balance. After an adjusted trial balance, you prepare the 3 financial statements or 4 up to cash flow statements. Then after nun, magko-closing entry. Tas merong closing balance. Hindi nyo pa nako-complete ang accounting cycle. Okay? So, ganun ang gagawin natin. Pero bago ko gawin yan, I need to discuss again or go back, yung i-continue yung discussion natin last time. Kasi gusto ko maging familiar muna kayo, especially sa mga part, paano ba natin ang posting, ano ba yung mga ilalagay sa ledger, mga ganon. Okay? Once na na-master na natin yung service business, I will teach you again naman how to journalize a merchandising business. Okay? Then after we do that, we can now analyze all the financial statements. I can now show you how to liquidate ratios, how to compute for the profitability ratios. Okay? Ano ba yung working capital? Paano ba yan? Okay? Although pwede nyo naman makita yan. Nandiyan naman ang formula as long as given na. Yun ay kung given na. Eh what if kung hindi pa siya given? What if kailangan nyo pang i-compute? Kasi regardless kung kaya nyo i-compute yung working capital na yan just by following this formula, ang problema kasi, what if ito mismo hindi nyo kayang makompute ng tama? Ni hindi nyo alam paano anong accounting title ang ilalagay dyan. Nakukuha yung ano ko, class, sentimiento ko. So that's why, for your summative test 4, more on theory muna tayo. Memorize the things that you need to memorize. Yan. I already discussed this from our last session. Okay? Ito nga, journal ang ledger na ang, I think na-omit ito sa, ano nyo, sa, natanggal yata ito sa melt ninyo. So if you're going to check your activity sheets, parang ang next na topic na kaagad is itong mga to. Ito. Transactions related to bank deposits. So kung meron na kayong mga bank account, automatic you already know how to fill up the savings, the slip, the withdrawal slip. Dito, we're just going to familiarize ano ba ang itsura ng certificate of deposits, ano ba ang itsura ng check. Ayan. Why? Because these are significant, lalo na kung ang transaction ninyo at ang payment na ibinayad sa inyo is in the form of check, na through bank ang transaction. Okay? These are the bank statement. Paano mo ba malalaman how much na ba yung cash in bank niya? Ni hindi mo pa alam ang itsura ng statement of or bank statement. Okay? Paano mo makikita? Nasaan ba yung withdrawal dyan? Nasaan ba yung interest? Nasaan ba yung tax? Ito, for example na lang. Skip na agad tayo. Kasi pero babalikan natin to. For example na lang, if you're going to analyze this one class, it only means that during November 1, ang total cash in bank balance niya is 44,200 pesos. Okay? Now, nag-deposit siya through check with a check number 12345 worth 4,200. Nag-deposit nga ba siya? Wait lang. November 1. Ang question ngayon, kanino niya dineposit? Sa sarili ba niya o sa iba? So, titingnan nyo ngayon. Ayan. Usually, sa bank statement class, ang credit, nadadagdagan yung pera mo. Okay? Pag debit, nawawalan ka ng pera. So, in this case, ibig sabihin, may pinadalhan siya na worth 4,200 pesos. Inilagay niya doon sa cheque number 12345. So, nabawasan siya ngayon ng 4,200, kaya ang balance na lang ng cash in bank niya is 40,000 pesos. Now, ngayon, nagdeposito siya sa sarili niya. How much? 5,000. Sabi ko dito ha, in this sample bank statement, lahat ng credit mo, so for example, if I'm going to show you my bank statement sa land bank, yung salary ko, so nakalagay doon, credit from DepEd Lingayen or ganyan, land bank Lingayen. So yun yung mga salary ko na pumapasok. Nasa debit side naman, lahat ng mga withdrawals or nababawas doon sa pera ko sa ATM ko. Okay? In this case, interest. Nag-earn ka ng interest. Bakit? Kaya, so, meron kang 45,000 na. Di ba? Sa isang araw, nag-earn ka dahil dito sa 45,000 mo. How much? 500 pesos. It depends sa policy ng bangko. Tuwing kailan ba sila? Annually ba sila nag-earn ng interest? Daily ba sila nag-earn ng interest? So, it depends. Okay? So, dahil nag-earn ka ng 500 interest, so usually class malabo, konti na lang ang interest ngayon. Parang, nung nag-10,000 nga ako, parang di pa ako naka-earn ng interest na 50 pesos sa isang taon na yun So, dati kasi maltaas pang interest ng bank. Pero ngayon, it is not wise if you want to invest your money in the bank, but it's better to put your money in the bank kaysa sa alkansya. You will help the economy naman. Okay? But if you want to earn your money, yung talagang hindi mo lang gagawin or gagalawin, mas safer of course sa bank. Diba? So anyway, back to this one. And just by analyzing this sample bank statement. Okay? Dahil masyado nang malaki yung pera mo, 45,500. Ito ang nakakainis din dito. Of course, nagkakaroon ka rin ng withholding tax. So in this case, dahil nag-earn ka ng interest, lahat kasi ng income na ina-earn mo, of course, may patong na tax. Automatic. So sa kanya, 10% yata ang kanyang withholding tax. Kaya nabawasan ka na naman ng 50 pesos. Kaya ang balance mo na lang is 45,450 pesos. Okay? Then, nagkaroon ng bank service charge. I don't know kung saan galing yung bank service charge. It can be, what do you call this? From the start na may ganun na every ganito may service charge. So for example, every withdrawal mo siguro or every deposit mo. Sa anything na ginamit mo ang services ng bank, they have a service charge, a certain amount. At nabawasan na naman ulit, 45,300. Parang for example, kung may agreement kayo na nag-open kayo ng bank account, usually kung 500 yan, tapos sabi nila, may maintaining balance po tayo na ganito, ma'am, 500. Eh, bigla ka nag-withdraw ng 200. Kaya yung iba yung nagre-reklamo, yung mga iba nagre-reklamo, bakit ganun? Imbis na kumita ako ng pera sa bangko, bakit nawala pa ako ng ganito, 10,000 yan? Or 9,000 yung pera ko, ba't ngayon zero balance na? Hindi nila alam na may pinaramahan sila or in-explain nila or hindi lang talaga sila or ignorante lang sila or hindi nila talaga inintindi yung sinabi sa kanila ng teller na ang maintaining balance ng dapat nandun sa savings nila, if that is a savings, is 10,000 dapat. Meaning to say, kapag bumabayan class, every month, magbabawas niya ng 300. Eh, akala niya, umaangat pa yung pera niya. Tapos nag-withdraw pala siya. Hindi na niya na-maintain. So, yun po ang reason kung bakit na-zero out. Same as, for example, may utang ka sa credit card. And supposed to be, dapat pabayaran mo yan monthly. So, every month, nag-i-increase yan, class. So, wag ka na magtataka kung hindi ka nagbabayad, possible na kinasuhan ka na or lumobo na yung utang mo. Okay? So, ganon. So, in this time, again, nag-send uli siya ng 5,200. So, usually, ang mga ganito kasi class, ano yan remember, meron tayong, for example, pera sa bangko. Malaking pera natin sa bangko. Tapos, at the same time, meron din tayong cheque. So, itong cheque na ito, sa kanya. So, cheque ang binayad niya sa supplier. Okay? Tapos, syempre, yung supplier na yon, yung cheque na yon, magkakaroon lang yun ng laman kapag nilamanan na niya. So, this time, nilamanan na niya, binigyan na niya ng laman by sending an amount to that check number. Nakukuha niyo po ba? Okay? So, yan. These are just some of the things na kailangan yung tandaan or aralin. Because these are the basic documents that are related to bank deposits. Okay? So, are you aware of the GCash, right? Hello? O, sinong aware dito sa GCash class? O, Kyla. Ano-ano na ang nagawa mo sa GCash, Kyla?
Ma'am, nag-cash in po, tapos ginamit ko po pang transfer po sa ibang account ng pera.
Okay. How about Brex?
Ma'am, bank transfers po tapos pagbili po ng load.
Ayan. Meron ba dito sa inyo class ang meron ng sariling savings account sa bank? Kasi yun ang bala ko yung project. Dapat by the end of the semester or by the end of the Christmas season, nakapag-open dapat kayo ng account. You should already know how to withdraw fill up the deposit and withdrawal slip and know how to pay bills. Merong billing slip din yan. Meron ba sa inyo? Wala pa? I don't know. Kasi dati kasi, mga bata, yan sila kuya, meron tayong kiddie sa Metrobank, meron silang savers eh. Passbook yon, passbook account. 500 pesos lang yung ano nun. Pero sa inyo kasi, since you're already a teenager, I think it's better. Pero try na rin. Try nyo lang siguro to inquire. How much ba mag-open ng account sa bangko? So usually may 2,000, 3,000 yan. Okay? So mas maganda class kung alam nyo. Be familiar. Or you can ask your parents pa. Pwede pa kapag pumunta ka sa bangko kumuha ka ng withdrawal slip, deposit slip, bills payment, meron pang check, ganyan. Then familiarize yourself. Ano ba ang meron dito? Ano bang mga nilalagay dito? Okay? So automatic account number, kung titingnan mo dito sa sample bank statement, ayan. These are the account number. And we have two account number. It can be current account or savings account. Okay? Sometimes, sa ibang ATM, yung current account na yan, nakalagay is checking account. Lalo na kung if you have experience, and I hope you will experience withdrawing in an ATM machine. Kasi may mga times na kapag di ka marunong tapos ikaw ang pinag-withdraw, wala na, kinain na po yung ATM mo. Kasi hindi ka mismo marunong mag-withdraw. Okay? Ayan. Ganon din sa check Paano po ba pinifill upan yung check? So usually sa isang check class, meron pa yan sa likod. Usually kung sino man nagbigay ng check mo na yan, sila nag-fill up niyan, that's my signature. And kapag pupunta ka sa bangko, if i-flip mo yan sa loob, magsisignature ka rin, I think 2 beses ata. Then you will put your name, and your address, yung contact detail. Forgot ko na kung i-fill upan mo pa yung date. Then yon. Then make sure to always bring a valid ID. Okay? So yan naman yung sa check. So let's discuss. Ito hindi na to kasama actually, natanggal na to sa I think natanggal na to sa milk supposed to be ninyo. Pag sinabing milk, yung essential lang. Parang nag-skip na kagad tayo dun sa mga banknotes. But for the sake of discussion, at dahil hindi nyo mga natapos yung, what do you call this, yung accounting one ninyo, i-discuss natin to. Okay? Kasi nga, para makumpleto natin yung accounting cycle. Don't worry, babalikan din natin yung na-discuss ko last time ng mga chapters. Okay? So we have different, what we call the journal and the ledger. And take note, I hope you already have, lahat ba na nandito is merong journal and ledger. Kasi sa susunod, I'm going to discuss the whole accounting na cycle. And we will practice in your journal and ledger. Doon tayo magsasagot. Okay? But anyway, this is part also of your summative test. Hanggang dyan. Bank recon usually nasa accounting 1 din yan. Ayan. Paki-check nga yung activity sheets natin hanggang saan yung class, hanggang saan yung topic. Kasi sa susunod, second quarter na parang itong extra time lang natin is i-discuss natin, okay? Anyway, by the end of this session, you should be able to differentiate the journal from the general ledger, determine the normal balance of an account, and of course, prepare journal entries to record basic business transactions. And of course, determine balances of accounts using the P account. So, pag sinabing general journal, it is a daily collection of business transactions entered into by an entity. It is called the book of original because it is the accounting records in which financial transactions are first recorded. It is the simplest type of journal. So what is the importance of this journal? It shows all information concerning a particular transaction. It also provides a chronological record of all the financial events in the business over time. So usually, itong general journal class is where you put your journal entry. Okay? We have also what we call the journal pod. Usually, pag nag-exercise kami, it is just a 2-column journal. Nga doon namin ginagawa yung entry namin. Okay? So, ano ulit tawag dyan? General journal. Nandun yung pinaka-transaction mo. Kung November 1 may ginawa kang transaction, isusulat mo doon November 1 to record, etc. Okay? So, we also have some of the examples of special journals and their use are the following. So, sa general journal, ito po yung nandito lahat. Okay? But, we have also what we call the special journals. Letter A, cash receipts journal. So, cash receipts journal is used to record all cash that had been received. Okay? So, usually, kung may business ka, sole proprietorship business, napakahalaga nitong cash receipt journal at saka itong cash disbursement journal. Okay? So, dito, lahat ng transaction mo na pumasok sa'yo, dito mo siya i-record, including the proof. Okay? For example, nagbayad si customer. Usually, class, you have your OR, di ba? Lahat ng mga transaction mo na nakatanggap ka ng pera at ininuhan mo ng resibo, binigyan mo ng resibo, dito mo siya i-record. Make sure na naka-attach din yung official receipt o voucher. Okay? Na binigay mo sa customer. The copy. Okay? Why? Kasi kung legit ang business mo, class, legit meaning to say registered siya, may permit ka, na may tatak ng BIR. Take note ha, magiging valid lang supposed to be before you fill up your general ledger or your special journals, general journal or special journals, dapat may tatak muna yan ng BIR. Kung legal yan, bago ka maglagay ng record, not the other way around. Meaning to say, hindi ka muna maglalagay dyan nang hindi pa na tatatakan ng BIR. Okay, dapat may tatak muna yan ng BIR. Okay? Then, saka mo siya gamitin. Ulitin ko ha, itong cash receipts journal, it is it is used to record all cash that had been received. In short, lahat ng transaction na binigyan mo ng official receipt, okay, or invoice, dyan mo siya i-record. Your OR, your official receipt copy, will serve as an evidence sa lahat ng cash na na-receive mo. Kasi it should be always supported by receipts. Okay? Cash disbursement journal, on the other hand naman, same as the cash receipt journal. So dito, lahat ng natanggap mong pera, di ba? Dito sa cash disbursement journal, ito naman yung mga transactions involving cash payments. So for example, nagbayad ka ng iyong Meralco bill. Di ba meron siyang billing statement? Di ba meron siyang resibo na binibigay na nagbayad ka na? Make sure it is also supported by that receipt. Kung wala ka class, wag mong ilalagay sa cash disbursement journal. Okay? Kasi hahanapin ka yan pag i-audit yan. Nasa na? Bakit hindi OR yung sayo? There's a possibility that, what do you call this? There's a possibility na baka sabihin sa'yo, oh, nandaya ka naman. Hindi naman to, gawa-gawa mo lang. Kaya make sure to always ask for an OR. Okay? Next. Sales journal naman, class, is used to record all sales on credit. Lalo na if they use credit card. Okay? Lahat ng on account, ilalagay mo sa sales journal. Purchase journal naman, ito naman yung mga inutang mo, binili mo na utang or on credit. Okay? And same pa rin, it should be supported with an official receipt or whatever it is na valid yung document. I think na-discuss ko naman yata, paano malalaman kung valid ba yan? Sino ba yung nag-issue? Ganyan. Di ba naalala niyo last time, diniscuss ko yon. Don't worry, balikan natin yon. Okay? So these are the special journals. Now, simple journal entry is what do you call an entry that involve two accounts only. Ano yung entry na yun? Debit and of course one credit. Compound entry is an entry that requires 3 or more accounts. Okay? So usually, pinag-aaralan lang natin ngayon is the simple journal entry. Okay? General ledger naman, on the other hand, class, is dito usually nilalagay yung ating parang, ito yung malawakang T account. Okay? So, general ledger, nasa iisang, lahat ng accounting title mo is nasa iisang ledger lang. Kaya nga, general ledger. Okay? So, usually, nauuna lagi yung kung ano man ang arrangement natin sa accounting equation. Ganon. Okay? Pero, dapat, inilalagay yan or ginagawa yan periodically. So, general ledger refers to the accounting book in which the accounts and the related amounts as recorded in the journal are posted to periodically. So, after mo mag-entry, kunwari after a month, natapos mo na, ipopost mo na siya ngayon sa ledger mo. So, for example, kung November 1, nagkaroon ka ng cash transactions and investment. So, pupunta ka ngayon sa iyong cash, susulat mo doon, then, pupunta ka naman uli ngayon sa iyong capital. Okay? Then, ilalagay mo uli yun. Okay? It is also called as the book of final entry because all the balances in the ledger are used in the preparation of financial statements. Referred to as the T account because the basic form of a ledger is like the T letter. Sa left side ang debit, sa right side ang credit. So, use of ledger is a means of accumulating in one place all the information about changes in an asset, liability, equity, income, and expense account. So, determining the balance of a T account, to determine the ending balance of each account using the T account, the beginning balance is plotted in the appropriate debit or credit side. Then total debits and credits are then determined. If the account has beginning balance on the debit side, all the debits during the period is added to the beginning, then all the credits deducted. There is a debit balance sum of the sum of the beginning balance and the total debit exceeds the total credit. So an example of the general journal, it is where you put your journal entry, you put the date, usually you put the name of the business here, yung tatlo, then journal entry, account number, if meron, the accounting title, reference. Reference is where usually where you post your transaction, kung anong page Anong ledger number ang nandito? Then debit, credit. Okay? So this is an example naman of the general ledger. This time, ito po yung general ledger under cash account. Okay? So ito yung account number. Lalagay mo dyan kung anong date, anong items. So for example, pwedeng kaninong supplier. Sa reference dito, saang journal? Page 1 ba? J? Pag sinabing J, ibig sabihin journal J01 or page 1 ng journal entry mo. Doon nangyari ang transaction. Anong debit, anong credit, anong balance. Okay? So a summary of the normal balance. Usually ito yung inaano mo na sa tawag doon. Ito na yung ano-ano ba yung mga positive side. Kung naalala niyo yung ginawa kong T, so usually sa asset, positive or nag-i-increase siya under the debit side. Ibig sabihin, pag sinabing normal, hahanapin mo kung nasaan yung positive siya or nag-i-increase siya. Asset, nasa debit yung nag-i-increase. Liability, nasa credit side yung increase na or normal niya. Positive siya pag nasa credit side siya. Owner's capital. So yun lang yun, class. Yan yung plus minus na inano ko sa inyo as a summary. Okay? Gusto ko pa sana ibigay example kaso malapit na matapos ang 3. Tapusin ko lang to in preparation of your summative test 4. Okay? So, on this session, we will discuss naman the basic documents and transactions related to bank deposits. Okay? So the learners demonstrate the understanding of transactions related to bank deposits. By the end of the session, you should be able to identify the type of bank accounts normally maintained by a business. So differentiate a savings account from a current or checking account and prepare bank deposits and withdrawal slips and identify and prepare checks. Identify and understand the contents of a bank statement. So kanina na explain ko na tong identify and understand. Nag-jump na tayo, class. Okay? So, savings account is intended to provide an incentive for the depositor to save money. The depositor can make deposits and withdrawals using the form provided by the bank. Banks usually pay an interest rate that is higher than a checking account or a current account. Some savings accounts have a passbook in which transactions are logged in a small booklet the depositor keep. Some savings account charge a fee if the balance falls below the specific minimum. So ito I think na-explain ko na kanina. So for example, if you have small, doon sa small na, what do you call this? Pag may mga maliit kang kapatid, it's better na kuhaan sila ng savers. Yan. Meron, usually 500 yung ano nila, minimum balance. Pero I think ang BPI meron silang ano, yung sa Kamiling, meron yatang para makapag-open ka ng account, meron kahit 100 pesos lang. Just ano na lang, as some tawag doon, just ask the banks kung ano yung possible na pwedeng minimum balance kung makapag-open kayo ng account as a student. Siguro much better kung wala ng pandemic. Pero dahil pandemic pa at hindi pa kayo na-allow na lumabas or kung allowed man kayo, be careful. Siguro try to ask your parents na lang to teach you. Yan. Ma'am, ano ba yung deposit slip? Ma'am, ano ba yung withdrawal slip? Ma'am, paano ba to fill upan? O later on, pag tumanda na magubulang ninyo, kayo na mag-a-assist sa kanila. Paano ba mag-withdraw? Paano ba mag-deposit? Ganyan. Okay? Ayan. Checking or current accounts, money held under a checking account can be withdrawn through issuance of a check. Okay? Banks usually allow numerous withdrawals and unlimited deposits under this type of account. The interest rate for checking account is usually lower as compared to a savings account. Anyway, excuse. So the account holder depositor is normally provided at the end of the month. a bank statement showing all deposit means checks pay the bank and the balance of the account. Excuse. The depositor is given easy access to the funds as compared to a savings account. Kaya po. Pa-excuse saglit. Water, please. Yan. So, time deposit account or a certificate of deposit account is a type of a savings account. But compared to the savings account class, the interest is much higher. Why? Because it is held for a fixed term and can be withdrawn only after the lapse of the agreed period and by giving notice to the bank. So, for example, usually 10,000 yata yung para pwede kang magkaroon ng makapag-time deposit eh. Ibig sabihin, yung dineposit mong 10,000 na yan, kunwari, depende kung 1 year, kung 10 years, pwede mo lang siyang ma-withdraw with a given period of time na sinabi mo para makapag-earn siya ng interest or agreed interest ng bank ninyo. Okay? The account may be withdrawn also anytime. However, the bank usually charges penalties. So for example, 1 year, pero withdraw mo na kaagad siya ng 9 months. So automatic na, yung 10,000 mo, hindi mo na siya makukuha as 10,000. Wala ka nang makukuhang interest, magkakaroon ka pa ng penalty. Kasi hindi mo sinunod yung agreement nyo na after a year. Pero halimbawa, 1 year and 1 month mo nang naka-deposit, sabi mo kay daddy, 1 year nang naka-deposit doon sa bank yung ano nyo, yung what they call this, yung 1 year nang naka-deposit dun yung pera mo. So, automatic class na pwede mo na siyang withdrawin at mag-earn na siya ng interest. So, usually, mas higher po ang interest rate ng savings account under time deposit kaysa sa normal savings account. Okay? So, yan naman ang itsura ng time deposit account. Okay? Tanong mo kay daddy, may ulam ka pa dun, fish. Gisingan mo si daddy, may class ako. O si kuya mo. Another class is the automated teller machine account. So where withdrawals can be made through designated machines. So this is a 24-hour teller machine and the funds can be withdrawn anytime. So the advantage of this account is that even if the banks are closed, you can withdraw your funds. Okay, so you can do this. Actually, ngayon meron na tayong tinatawag na online banking. So even if without the ATM, you can do your transactions online. As long as you enrolled your account online. So I also do mobile banking. So I can, di ba may mga apps na tayo ngayon. So I do my transactions using only my mobile phones. It is connected. But if you want to do it, make sure na ako kasi parang naka-double security ako eh. Before anything else can be withdrawn in my account, usually magte-text muna sa akin yan, magtatawag muna sa akin yan, may OTP pin na tinatawag, may pin akong kailangan i-enter, may ganon, may verification pa, may mga ganon. Okay? Kaya itong anak ko kapag yung si JJ kasi madalas kasi siyang madalas siyang may ini-install sa niya. And I don't usually install apps that can gather information sa phone ko because I do this kind of transactions. So, there's a possibility na ma-hack. Ultimo yung mga text messages na marireceive mo, there's a possibility na ma-hack. Okay? Kaya be careful if you do not know how to do an online transaction, then don't. Okay? Anyway, so the types of bank accounts normally maintained by a business, these are the comparison chart to determine the difference between the savings account and the current account. Okay? So dito, a bank deposit account that encourages savings of a person. So a bank deposit account that supports regular money transactions related to business. So usually, kapag ang ATM mo is yung salary, doon mo natatanggap ang salary mo, usually under current account yon. Okay? Kasi related siya sa business. Suitable for individual, business, or company. Sa interest, yes, you earn an interest, but in your current account, no, you do not earn your interest. So the main reason, so that's why yung I have this in my salary, yung ATM ko. I usually enroll yung kayo kapag may trabaho na kayo ha, yung naka-auto save, naka-virtual auto save. So for example, sa Land Bank, they have that. So ano ba yung auto save? Okay? So yung auto save na yun, nilink ko siya dun sa current account ko na Land Bank also. Okay? Meaning to say, every time na sasahod ako, depende kasi kung anong isa-set mo doon na schedule. So, for example, kung ang sinend ko doon, sa GCash pwede rin yan, ganun din ang ginagawa sa GCash. You can do this also, class, para makarelate kayo. So, for example na lang, sa akin muna doon sa, sa ATM. So, usually naka-auto-save siya every 15th and 30th of the month. So, all I have to do is dapat meron akong maintaining balance doon sa aking ATM. Then, pagdating ng 15, depende rin, ikaw rin na magsiset kung how much yung isi-save mo dun sa virtual account mo. Pwedeng virtual o pwedeng magkaroon ka ng ATM card. Depende na lang sa sasabihin mo dun sa bank. So, for example, no, so every 15th and 30th of the bank, kung sinet kong every 15th and 30th of the bank is kukuha sila ng 1,000, yun ang gagawin nila. Pero take note, make sure na meron kang laman dun sa current account mo, dun sa original account mo. Bakit yung ginagawa yan, class? Kasi take note, hindi po siya nag-earn ng interest sa normal na current account. And it is also advisable kasi hindi mo nalalaman na meron ka palang nasisave. Usually kasi pag sumasahod, lalong matanda na, kapag sumasahod tayo, wala na. Ang tendency natin is just to withdraw all our savings. 'Di ba? So ito na yung tinuturo ko sa inyo na income, pag yung sahod ko pumasok sa current account mo, i-minus mo na kaagad yung savings mo via auto-save. Okay? Then the rest, budget it for your expenses. If you have a GCash account, meron diyang G-Save. Tama? You can actually schedule. For example, every week. So sa GCash ko, every week, naka-schedule siya na magsisave siya ng 100. So kung may laman ng GCash ko, hindi ko namamalaya na meron palang laman yung G-Save ko. Okay? So minsan kapag nangingi sila, Angelo, pagtingin ko sa GCash, wala. Pero yung pala, meron pala sa G-Save. Okay? Pag kailangan lang. Tapos wini-withdraw ko. Diba? Yun ang kinagandahan, class, na meron kang savings account. At least kahit paano, kahit konti yan, it earns interest. Okay? So sa savings account naman, class, is limited yung withdrawals mo. Okay? So syempre, kung wala kang laman, hindi na makapag-withdraw. Limited in the sense na meron ka kasing maintaining balance. Dito sa current account kasi, wala ka kasing maintaining balance. So, sa savings account, do they issue passbook? Yes, there are savings account that issue passbook. So, usually, sa Metrobank, 10,000. Para yata, or 50 na yata ngayon. So, yung Producers Bank, I don't know, 5,000 to 2,000. Yung BDO noon, ang ganda eh. Kasi sa BDO, saka yung Metrobank din dati, lalo sa Metro Manila, they do not just issue passbook, they also issue ATM. So, both passbook and ATM. Pero sabi ko nga, mas higher ang maintaining balance if you have a passbook. Pero kung bata ka pa, 500 pesos, max save, sa savers, may passbook ka na. Wala ka nga lang ATM. Okay? So usually nagbabayad lang ng 100 if you want an ATM. So kung ATM naman ang i-open mo, 2,000, siguro to 5,000 ang maintaining balance. Ayan. And of course, they don't issue passbook on a current account. So that's the difference. Okay? Ulitin ko, yung passbook na yun, ito yung parang booklet na makikita mo doon lahat ng transaction mo, withdrawal, etc. Okay? Ayan. Withdrawal slip. Sayang, maganda sana kung meron tayong hawak na withdrawal slip. Later on, try pag may oras pa. Pero kung wala na, sa susunod na, ha? Pero sa exam ninyo, ito yung re-reviewin nyo. Okay? Ayan. Paki-review yan para sa chapter 4. Yan. A withdrawal slip and deposit slip are written orders to the bank. These slips are used to take out money or to put in money to the depositor's account. The required information in the withdrawal slip are account name, account number, date of withdrawal, type of account, currency. So I think it's better if we search for an example kasi mahirap kapag pasensya na sa mga nagtatanong sa akin nata, binibilisan ko din. Yan. So we have withdrawal slip. Maganda kung nakikita nyo. Malabo ba? Nakikita ba, class? Malinaw ba? So this is an example of a withdrawal slip of the BDO. So you have there is, you just check it. For example, if the account is a current or savings account. Okay, so usually savings account. Kung salary, current account yan. Then ilagay nyo, ano ba yan? Is it a dollar account or a peso account? So usually, peso account. Kung iba ang currency niya, then put others, then put the name of that currency. Always put the date. Take note, class, if you're going to fill up a withdrawal or a deposit slip, do not, as much as possible, do not erase or put an erasure on it. Okay? So you're going to put the account name. Ang account name is kung ano po yung account name ng may-ari ng account. Okay? So in this case, so for example, if we're going to use this as one of your account, the account name is Juana de la Cruz. Okay? So you put Juana de la Cruz. What is the account number? Let's check again. The account number is 203007145. Tama ba nilagay ko savings account? No, kasi ang nakalagay dyan is current account. So, ilagay mo current account. Dito pala, i-check natin. So, yun, ang ilagay mo. Amount in words. So, make sure, alam nyo paano mag-sulat. Magkano ba ang withdrawal mo? For example, 1,000. So, ilagay mo dyan, 1,000 pesos only. Tapos ilagay mo dyan, peso sign, 1,000.00. Okay? Now, nakalagay dyan is, I, we hereby, etc. So, ang kalagahan nito, class, if ikaw yung mismong may-ari ng account, ikaw mismo si Juana de la Cruz, then, do not fill up ito. Kasi ikaw mismo. Pipilapan mo lang ito kung nagpapa-withdraw ka sa kakilala mo or sa representative mo. Okay? So kung hindi, dito ka na kaagad. Signature of account holder. So put your signature dyan. Dito pala. Dito lang. Dito mo ilalagay yung signature mo kung ikaw. Kung nagpapa-withdraw ka, gamit ang representative mo, then fill upan mo yan. Name of the representative, signature of the representative, signature of the account holder. Okay? Cash breakdown. Yan. So, ilalagay mo dyan kung anong cash. For example, 20 pesos. Kung ayaw mo naman ilagay ang fill up, kung ayaw mo naman, usually ginagawa to kung gusto mong yung sa Pasko, 'di ba maraming tigbe-20, kung marami ka bibigyan ng 20 yan, finifill upan yan. Pero pwede mo naman hindi na rin ilalagay. Ilagay mo na lang ang total amount. Ilagay mo na lang dito ang 1,000. Pero kung gusto mong, tawagin mo nga si papa mo. Wait. Nagkaklase pa ako. Wait lang anak. Wait lang class ha. Ayan. So, dito ilalagay mo, for example, 20 pesos o 500. Ilang 500? Isa. Tapos gusto ko 100, 5. So, yun ang ibibigay sa'yo. Then, 500 times 1, 500. 100 times 5, 500. Total of 1,000. Sino ang mag-fill up nitong verified? Bangko na yan. Sino mag-fill up nitong approved? Bangko na yan. Payment received by. So, dito ilalagay mo lang ang signature mo. Okay? So, that is an example of a withdrawal slip. A deposit slip naman, on the other hand, same lang din class. Ang hirap naman ng wait lang. Kita, I hope kita nyo, no? Pero just search. Ayan. Jay, nasa kakawalay ang fish Ayan. So, here, deposit slip, ito naman yung magbibigay ka ng pera. Dapat, of course, pag deposit slip, may dala kang cash. Ihulog mo siya sa mismong account mo or depende sa mismong account kung sino man ang huhulugan mo. Okay? So, you put the account number, you put the account name. Okay? So, is it a check? Post-dated ba? Kung check ang hawak mo, then ilagay yung post-dated. Pero kung mismong cash ang hawak mo, wala kang ilalagay dyan. Okay? So, ilalagay mo kung, for example, 1,000 din, 500, isa, 500, isa. Pero usually, yung iba, di na nila finifilapan, si teller na, ilagay mo lang dito ang total. Okay? Pero kung check yan, ilagay mo kung anong check number, anong branch, anong amount. Okay? Then total deposit. Dito ka si signature, ilalagay yung date, at i-approve ni teller. So, ganun lang po, kasimple. Bills payment. Hindi tayong tinatawag na bills payment slip. Bills payment. So usually, ang kulay po ng bills payment sa BDO is kulay orange. Okay? So, for example, ilalagay mo kung para kanino ka ba magbi-bills payment. For example, ako BDO credit card. Ilalagay ko ang date, institution code. Hindi ko naman alam kung anong institution code, so hindi ko na ilalagay, pinifilapan yan. So, kahit hindi mo na filapan yan. Subscriber account number, since credit card ang babayaran ko, ito yung credit card number ang nilalagay ko. Subscriber's name ko, ano yung name ko doon sa credit card. How much yung amount? Ayan, nilalagay ko din. Tapos, same lang din, signature. Ayan. Meron dyan, same lang din kanina, signature mo. So, usually, yung ibang bangko, pati sa check pati sa deposit minsan, pinapalagay na rin yung name ko at the same time yung contact number ko para kapag may failure sa payment, they can easily contact me at makapunta ako sa kanila. Okay? So, ganun lang. Sample lang yan ng bills payment or mga forms. But because of the pandemic, marami na po ngayon ang nagbago class. We also do online transactions or online payment, of course, via GCash, di ba? We also have what we call, may Paymaya din, may PayPal din. So, may mga games kasi na, tawag doon, may mga games kasi na nagbibigay sa'yo ng pera at sinesend sa PayPal account mo. So, katulad din sila JJ, yan sila, yung tita niya, at si asawa ko, yung Coin Monster yan, naglalaro kami. May isang app na kapag na-reach mo na yung ganitong level, nagbibigay sa'yo ng, kasi siya pound kasi ang binibigay So, sa PayPal niya pinapadala, then yung PayPal niya, kino-convert na lang siya into peso. Depende sa'yo, kung gusto mo na $1. Then you can send it via GCash or you can send the money sa bank mo. Unfortunately kasi, ang di ko nagandahan sa PayPal is yung na-earn mo dun sa PayPal, kapag sinend mo na, meron, di ba sa GCash meron din naman transaction fee. So, ganun din siya. Ang kaso nga lang, kailangan 500 pesos muna bago mo siya ma-transfer sa iba. Tapos, kapag nag-transfer ka, may charge yon. Ang laki ng charge. I think 30 pesos o 40 pesos ata. Tapos, ang kinasamaan pa nun, doon sa magre-receive, may charge uli. So, nado-double charge ka. So, katulad ng ginagawa nila JJ. So, may laman na kasi kagad yung PayPal ko. 500. Itong si JJ, bibili lang ng, si JJ pala, yung pangalawa ko pong anak, si Kent James. Bibili lang ng tinapay, pati itong tita niya, nagbabayad sa akin via PayPal. So, nabawasan na kagad sila, di ba? 30 pesos. Pagdating sa akin, biruin mo kung 20 pesos lang yung 20 pesos lang na binilay. Minsan pa nga nagbayad pa yung tita niya, si JJ pala, 5 piso lang. Nabawas na kagad ganun kalaki. Tapos nung pagdating sa akin, nabawasan pa ako. Nag-negative tuloy ako. Why? Kasi pag withdraw pa lang niya, pag transfer pa lang niya, pag send pa lang sa akin ng amount sa PayPal via GCash, automatic, o kahit hindi na PayPal to PayPal na lang automatic nabawasan na kaagad siya. Pagdating ko, nabawasan uli ako. So sabi ko, Jay, pwede bang cash mo na lang bayaran? Kasi sa binayaran mong tinapay na 5 piso, ang nabawas sa akin, 15. Nalugi pa ako. Kuha nyo? So, yun ang hindi maganda sa PayPal. Maganda lang siya kapag sa international transaction. Kasi very, siya, common na ginagamit doon. Okay? So, sa GCash naman, class, ganun din. We also use GCash sa payment sa pag-receive ng payment. Okay? Ang dati, nung wala pang pandemic, pag GCash, wala kang bayad Free ang transaction. Wala pa yung mga kapag more than 8,000, may 2%. Ngayon kasi nagbago na. So, every time magka-cash in ka, I think meron na rin, di ba? May charge na rin siya. Tapos, yung dapat sa isang month, kahit fully verified ka kasi ako fully verified ako Sa isang month, meron ka lang kailangan na transaction or I think cash in na 8,000. So kapag nag-exceed ka, more than 8,000 class, automatic you have a 2% nung excess na dineposit mo. For example, madalas akong mag-transact via GCash, cash in, cash out. So, kapag alam mong nasa limit ka na 8,000, it's either mag-enroll ka na lang ulit ng another GCash, although pinaka-maximum lang yata isa, pwede mo siguro 2. Para try nyo lang, or iba na lang siguro ang pangalan. Kesa naman sa magbayad ka ng 2%. Pero, ang advantage naman nun is, some of the establishment, if you use transactions like this, you earn also a rebates na tinatawag. Okay? Na tumataas yung G-score mo na tinatawag or G-credit mo wherein you can use also to buy your items then Walang charge as long as mabayaran mo siya within a given period of time. So, you can also transact kasi may mga time, di ba, na walang laman ang ATM. Offline si ATM. So, dahil may GCash ka, you can do online transactions. You can pay your bills on time. Okay? So, yan ang mga... And also, there's Coins PH and also PayMaya. Ilan yan sa pwede nyong magamit in relation to transactions. Nasaan ako? Withdrawals and yan. So, ito, check naman. Yan. So, ito naman pag cheque ang binigay sa inyo ni customer as a form of payment. So, usually sa journal entry, ultimo check number, kung kanino galing, kung sang company, how much, sinusulat pa natin. Kasi there are times, o may tinatawag tayong bouncing check na tinatawag. Wherein, nagbayad si customer ng cheque, pero yung cheque naman pala is walang laman. So, check class is a document that orders a bank to pay a specific amount of money from person's account to the person in whose name the check has been issued. The person's writing the check, the drawer has a transaction banking account where his money is held. The drawer writes the various details including the monetary amount, date, and a payee on the check and sign its ordering his bank known as the drawee. To pay that person or company the amount of money stated, checks are a type of bill of exchange and were developed as way to make payments without the need to carry large amounts of money. The check number is usually indicated in the upper right portion of the check. So the followings are the parties involved in the transaction that uses check as a medium of exchange. Drawer, or the person or entity who makes the check. Payee, the recipient of the money. And drawee, the bank or other financial institutions where the check can be presented. Okay? So let's tapusin muna natin, then I will show you an example of a check by online. Kasi may 259 na. So, how to prepare a check? So, write the date on the line in the upper right-hand corner. There will be blank space next to above the word date. Write the name of the recipient. Write the name of the person or company you're sending the check to next to the line that says space to the order of. You can also just pay the check to cash, but be careful because that means that anyone can cash it. If it's to an individual, include both their first and last names. If the check is going to an organization, write out its full name. Do not use acronyms unless explicitly given permission. Write the amount of the check to the right of the peso sign and write the exact amount using peso in cents. If the check is for 20 pesos, write 20.00. Okay? Kasi there are times that a simple zero, possible maging 2,000 yan kung wala yung point. Although, meron namang value. Write the monetary amount of the check in word form. Mahalaga din ang word form. Below, the pay to the order of line. Sign the check on the line in the bottom right corner. Your check will be invalid if it is not personally signed. Fill out the memo section on the bottom left of the check. Through this part of the check is optional. It can be helpful to write the note to yourself or the recipient to remember what the check is for. You can write for my rent if you're sending a rent check. So these are the sample check. But it's easier kung mag-research tayo at ma-show ko sa inyo yung sample ng check. Yan. So that's an example of a check. So you have the maganda sana kung meron na fill up. So this is the date. Okay. This is the amount. This is the word na katumbas. So, para saan daw yung check na ito? For donation. Ito yung signature. Para kanino? Kay Wikimedia Foundation. Okay, nasan yung check number? 243. Ayan. Ito ang check number. Ayan. So, these are the account number. Ito palang check number. Sorry, mali ako. This is the check number. Ayan. Malinaw na po ba? So, usually, meron pa yung likod. Doon naman fill up yung kung sino man yung nag-withdraw na yon. Okay? Ayan. I already discussed the bank statement. So, at the end of every month, the bank furnishes a statement to the depositor showing the movement of the transaction of the account. It contains all the withdrawals, deposits, and balance of your account after every transaction. It may also indicate bank charges that were deducted by the bank automatically. Also, interest earned by the account is likewise reflected. So, diniscuss ko na to. So, nagkaroon ng bank service charge kasi parang inutusan nung, for example, akong binayaran ng cheque, pumunta na ako sa bangko, yun na yun. Yung service ko para ma-sendan ng pera or malagyan ng pera yung check na yan, that will have a service charge worth 150 pesos. So, bank service charge is a monthly fee charged by the bank for its services. Example, cost of printing checks, writing funds to other locations, other fees. So, non-sufficient fund, NSF, banks also use a debit memorandum when a deposited check from a customer bounces. Ito yung bouncing check. Yun to say, nag-issue si owner ng check pero hindi niya, wala naman palang laman yung check. Okay, because of insufficient funds nowadays, bank refers to this as drawn against insufficient funds or drawn against uncleared deposits. Okay, so collection of cash proceeds from notes receivables, interest income earned by the deposits. So let's end. If you allow people to make more withdrawals than deposits in your life, you will be out of balance and in the negative. Know when to close the account. Gets? Ibig sabihin, kung meron kayong kakilala na puro na lang kuha ng kuha sa inyo, kasi in a relationship, it takes two to tango, di ba? Hindi naman pwedeng one-sided lang. Okay? So, kung meron kayong mga tao na ganun, mas mabuting iwanan nyo na. Okay? Kasi, you should know how to balance your life. Kung puro negative ang inaano sa iyo ng isang tao, better na i-left mo siya. Dapat hindi lang puro negative side ang makuha mo. Dapat positive din. Kung meron kang kaklase na puro ano ba naman to, kopya na lang tong kopya. Baka naman gusto mo mag-share mo rin ng knowledge mo, ng notes mo. Ganon, okay? And that ends our discussion for today. And that is the coverage of your summative test number 4, which will be given tomorrow or I think siguro Monday na lang para makapag-review pa kayo. So do you have any questions? It's already 3:05. Meron po ba kayong mga tanong? Class? Yes, Kayla. Ano yun, Kayla?
Ma'am, yung sa ano po, di ba po ma'am, meron po kayong pina-activity po. Yung sa rating po, hindi na po namin gagawin yun, ma'am. Bali, 2 activity na lang po yun.
Activity 1 and 2, di ba? Pinagawa ko sa inyo.
Yung gagawan po
Yung
ng
sa
ano,
motivation.
cash flow statement.
Ha?
Yung gagawan po ng cash flow statement, hindi na po included yung activity 1 kasi sinend nyo na po sa GC.
Yes. Ay, hindi nyo pa natapos yun? Kaya ako sinend kasi kala ko tapos nyo na yun. Hindi nyo pa natapos?
Hindi pa ma'am kasi hindi po namin alam.
Oh, sige, okay lang. So, 2 na lang. Kahit yung 2 na lang. And yun ang maging guide na ninyo. Okay, may tanong po ba? Medyo naliwanagan na po ba yung summative test natin?
Good luck, Rex.
Ma'am, yung about po sa portfolio, ma'am.
Ayun. So yung portfolio is na-move natin po on Monday. Baka bukas ko pala i-post yung quiz. So don't worry, it's just a multiple choice quiz. Kaya once na mag-take kayo ng test, automatic makikita nyo ay, wala na. Ayan na naman ako eh. Kaya hindi ko muna ito maisisend eh. Once na nakita nyo na kaagad yung, yung result, pwede nyo naman i-copy. Nasa summary. Kasi Monday din pala ang deadline, no? Anyway, gabi naman ang deadline. Mas mauna pa rin yung quiz nyo. Gabi naman ang deadline ng portfolio.
Ma'am, yung
Yes?
Ma'am, yung dun sa second summative po, ma'am, hindi po namin alam kung ilan po yung nakuha namin, ma'am.
Okay lang. Basta ilagay nyo lang yung total. Ako na bahala dun.
Thank you po, ma'am.
I-total lang per activity and per quiz. Regardless kung di ba nailagay ko na yung nailagay ko na yung sagot doon sa mismong summative ba yun? Summative yun, no?
Yes po, ma'am, summative 2 po.
Sa cash flow, no? Hindi ba may activity ako na hindi nyo dapat ginawa ang cash flow? Pero pina-activity ko ulit. After nung summative ko yata yung pinagawa. After nung summative na yun, saka
Sa summative po ata yun, no?
summative siya, di ba? Ayun. So,
Opo, yung after po nun may multiple choice po na naga.
oo. So, yun. Ilagay nyo pa rin, pero hindi na siya ganun ka-graded. Hindi siya graded kasi binigay ko na yung tamang sagot. Okay? So, parang 2 activities na lang tayo sa cash flow. Okay? Na-check nyo ba yung activity sheets, class? Hanggang saan tayo doon? Kasi na-check yung activity sheets ng Wait.
Ma'am, hanggang week 4 lang po
Marami-rami.
yung may submission sa Google Classroom.
Ay, mali. Mga estudyante ko sa Ay, wait lang. Tanggalin ko muna yung record. Naka-record pa ba tayo? Off record na lang natin to, ha?